2020 Volvo V60 Cross Country Car Review. Volvo may be pumping out cross-country models since 1998, while using lifted wagons more often than not, outselling a normal variants, sometimes by huge margins. For example, the outgoing V60 Cross Country found greater than double the volume of buyers as regular V60s in 2018. Along with the V90 Cross Country outsold the conventional V90 by almost half a dozen times, although portion of that discrepancy is that a normal V90 is special order only. A simple formula. The new V60 Cross Country's ground clearance may be increased by as much as 3 inches compared to the conventional car, and adds an off-road driving mode while it doesn't do much beyond slightly altering the typical all-wheel drive system's programming and activating your vehicle's hill descent control, another new feature. The V60cc wears the requisite black plastic body appendages within the bumpers and wheel arches, different wheel designs, a different grille, and many specific metal trim about the interior. Everything else is usual 60 series Volvo goodness, meaning slick exterior styling, a stupendous interior that has a sometimes slow-to-react touchscreen infotainment system, and a few of the best seats obtained in any vehicle. Volvo will give you the V60cc only in T5 AWD form within the United States. That means a turbocharged 2.0-liter inline-4 making 250 horsepower and 258 lb-ft of torque, exactly like in other T5 versions of Volvo's 60 and 90 series models, may be the sole engine option. Unlike in the normal V60, the Cross Country will not available using the 316 horsepower T6 powertrain, and neither wagon can provide Volvo's T8 twin-engine plug-in hybrid setup inside US, and routine driving the T5 powertrain is sufficient powerful. Also, it pairs well while using 8-speed automatic, the only real available transmission. Solidly capable. The V60cc's we drove for the paved roads and snow-covered trails of Liuli were nearly fully loaded T5 AWD examples, all fitted with 19-inch wheels engrossed in studded Michelin's Ice North 4 winter tires. While the studded rubber caused it to be difficult to get a true feel for the vehicle's on-road manners, they didn't detract much through the overall experience, in addition to adding a little extra road noise. The standard V60's balanced handling and well-tuned steering are nevertheless present. Nevertheless, the Cross Country does feel a little more muted, plus a bit less sporty in their reflexes. The raised ride height and softer suspension tuning, however, allow it to be noticeably comfier than a normal car, especially on rough roads, and it also isn't so cushioned regarding feel floaty or aloof. Volvo says that, unlike about the V90cc, air springs aren't offered because buyers in this particular segment value cargo space, something an air setup would eat into around the 60 platform. On our second day of driving, Volvo took us into the frozen Baltic Sea just off of the coast on the city, where it had launched a makeshift racetrack that was comprised of a fairly long straight, several dozen chicken-like curves, and a couple of extremely long, sweeping right-handers. We were initially expected to put the car in their dynamic driving mode but keep stability control started up. When trying to have the wagon's tail to remove, or when carrying an excessive amount of speed right into a corner, the automobile's electronic minders easily rained from the fun, applying the brakes that can help quickly regain traction, preventing the car from skidding or sliding. Later, we switched about the Cross Country's Escape Sport mode, which effectively disables the steadiness control, granting the motive force more control. With this mode activated, we easily put into long, controlled four-wheel drifts throughout the corners, the vehicle nicely reacting to steering and throttle inputs. And aside through the couple of occasions when the seatbelt pretensioners attempted the Heimlich for us, there were no intervention on the V60's safety systems, like abruptly cutting the electricity or applying the brakes. Granted, This exercise was lacking much relating how the cross-country will work in normal, real-world conditions while wearing non-studded tires. Nevertheless, it was a lot of open fun. We also spent a couple of laps driving an XC40 T5 AWD around the same course, as well as the little crossover wasn't nearly as easy, or enjoyable, to slide around because larger wagon. A smarter utilitarian. Volvo also set up a mock off-road course inside snow to prove which the V60 Cross Country turns out to be as rugged the way it looks. A steep downhill section then an uphill climb took advantage with the hill descent and hill hold features which are activated by choosing the off-road driving mode. Next were a few of highly banked corners, a sizable ditch which had the V60 perched on two wheels, last but not least a section of logs partially buried inside the permafrost. None on the course was very intense, but there never would have been a moment if this felt almost like the cross-country couldn't handle the obstacles or that your high-riding XC60 SUV would fare much better. When the V60 Cross Country hits dealer lots inside the summer, its starting price should be some grand higher compared to the V60 Momentum T5 FWD, suggesting a base cost of around $42,000. Unlike the standard V60, which can be purchased in 3 trim levels beyond the 2 powertrains, the Cross Country can be purchased in a single configuration. That puts the V60cc inside same range of prices as a base XC60 crossover, which begs the question, with the V60 Cross Country, has Volvo made the ideal alternative to a crossover? We think it could have. The V60 Cross Country checks each of the boxes that this typical crossover buyer wants: an increasing ride height, butch styling, many cargo room, and no less than a semblance of off-road ability. With nearly every one of the benefits with the XC60 and very little downsides compared to the typical V60, Volvo has generated an excellent compromise by continuing to fill this niche. Most important, at the least to us, the V60 Cross Country is flush using a decidedly handsome character, both in and out, which is not something available on spec sheets.